There was a tragic event in the history of the railway in Almonte. It happened on December 27, 1942. Lorne Richardson was enjoying his first run as engineer of a passenger train as he sat at the throttle of Canadian Pacific's passenger extra 2802 East. As he was approaching Almonte, he was aware that another train, CP 550, also known as the Pembroke Local, was supposedly running 20 minutes ahead of him. It was what he didn't know that was about to result in horrific consequences.
I believe in miracles, and one of them took place that night when the conductor persuaded us to go into the third coach from the rear, which was destroyed, and stay there. Our plan was to obey him, but head to the back of the train once we get inside. But something told us, stay where you are. You know, this is fine. It's only a short ride.
My father was a private by this time. This was December 27th, 1942. So he'd come home for Christmas and was joined by my great aunt. So they were heading back to Ottawa. Now the train had come in late into the station, and typically the front of the train was full, so that what they did is they went to the back of the train, got on the last car. It was full. They got on the second last car, it was full. Got on the third last car, it was full too. And they just got into the fourth last car, and the troop train came in and smashed into it and destroyed the last three cars and killed, 36 or 37 people.
So when we got hit, we didn't know what had happened to us. It was like an explosion. The train had just started to move very slowly when the whole window in the station that I was opposite to literally exploded. And we found out later that was a body that went through that window from our coach in onto the floor of the station. Mentally, it has never left me. I can still see when they brought the lanterns in later. There was a lady that was sitting in what was a seat across from the arm of the chair I was sitting on that was dead. And she had hundreds of pieces of the coach, wooden slivers in her. I remember that as they carried us out. And what was left of the roof of our coach, there was a young lady who had a steel rod or something right through, and she was pinned to the roof of what was left of the coach. Of course, she was dead. We were in the coach and trapped in it for about, I guess, 3.5 to 4 hours. Couldn't get to us. The problem being that there was so much wreckage, we found out after, that you could only go to the town hall on one side with us and to the O'Brien Theatre on the other side. You couldn't work back and forth. I remember some of the story going around that the owner of the O'Brien or manager or whatever didn't want to let anybody in there and use it as a morgue or whatever was necessary. That's what they were doing with the town hall. Anyway, I think they knocked the hinges off the doors and went in. That's a story I've heard.
So we come down, and when we got down to the War Memorial, you could see the track where the troop train had gone into the passenger train. And in those days, they were wooden coaches. They weren't metal coaches like they were later. And it was just like a pile of toothpicks, a humongous big pile of lumber all shattered there, where the engine had gone right into the back end of the passenger train, and it was a god-awful mess. They found a baby down in the trees around the War Memorial the next day. and like it had been thrown out there
And it was fine.
and survived. Yeah, it was in
All bundled
good,
up and it was
well,
fine.
was just fine, and that was quite a ways.
Oh, darn right.
The one saving factor that was a big factor is the guys on the troop train were going overseas and they had medical supplies with them, which made a huge difference because
And they put people in the
Yeah.
theater and the town hall.
that's right.
and-
Oh yeah, any place they could
Yeah.
put a stretcher, they put somebody.
Yeah.
But the troop train was equipped with stretchers and first aid equipment and all this kind of stuff, which was a big factor in the long run, or they probably would have lost a lot more
Yeah, yeah.
than what they did.
At least twice a year, I'll go to Almonte, and stand on the track at the little metal and the little steel overpass that's there near the town hall, and look down the track to the famous curve, and picture again what Mr. Richardson saw when he came around that curve. That's all that slowed him down, was to come around the curve. Now, he couldn't see us because we were 2 cars apparently across the road. And the crew of our train did not put out flares. Apparently our taillights were next to not very good. And there was vapor rising off the waterfall there that goes through Almonte, which hindered his view of seeing us. The only indication that there was something ahead, and apparently the green light was on the roof of the station, giving him a clearance, I understand. I know it was on in Pakenham that caused the whole thing, as far as I'm concerned, because the railroad should have known that this special was coming behind us that wasn't there yesterday or last week. And the green light was on in Pakenham. The station was closed, as it routinely does, apparently. I don't know, but anyway, what he saw with this headlight reflected off the rear door of the rear coach of our train, the glass door. Well, there wasn't a chance in the world of him being able to stop that train.